Hi,
Hey,
Rollo Haynes, owner, proprietor.
so what is all this stuff?
Authentic criminological artifacts. If it did something bad, chances are it's in here.
Hi, this is Nicole and welcome to Chroma Film TV. In this video, I'll be taking a look at the gadgets of the Black Museum and show how the technologies of the episode are more than mere fiction. And without further ado, let's get into it. As the episode begins, a young lady named Nish is seen driving a long distance before parking at an old gas station to charge her solar-powered car. For a moment, she looks around before setting her sights on the Black Museum across the parking lot. Once she gets to the building, it's closed for tours, but she only has to wait a couple of minutes before being greeted by Rollo Haynes, the museum owner. As she enters, she sees images from the previous seasons of Black Mirror before getting to the first of 3 display devices shown to her by Rollo. During his time as a medtech, Rollo approaches Dr. Peter Dawson and shows him a device that would allow him to diagnose his patients faster by giving him the ability to feel the sensations the patients were describing. Rollo explains that using this device would require an implant and the procedure was irreversible. The doctor had a few concerns at first, but after getting all the pros of the device from Rollo, the doctor agrees to go through with the procedure. Initially, the device worked wonders and the doctor received praise and recognition for his successful surgeries. But one fateful day, he received a patient that passed while wearing the headpiece, and he could feel every sensation, birthing a twisted addiction to pain that destroyed his career and his life. Young couple Jack and Carrie fall in love at first sight, and after time together, they have a baby. One day, while Carrie took a picture of her boyfriend and their baby, she's hit by a truck. The collision causes her to fall into a coma. Through the intercom system at the hospital, Carrie is able to communicate with Jack by signaling a green light for yes and a red light for no. After years of visiting Carrie, Jack is approached by Rollo, who tells him about a project that could digitally extract a person's consciousness and place it in a new body, Jack's body. Jack is concerned, but Carrie wants to go forward immediately. After completing the procedure, Carrie is able to see through Jack's eyes and feel the sensations of touch through his body. Time passes, and over time, Jack gets tired of hearing Carrie's voice in his head. Since she has the ability to see what he sees, she watches everything he does and has a complaint for almost everything he does. Eventually, Jack grows tired of the constant arguments and lack of physical contact and decides to start a new relationship, leading to Carrie's consciousness being transferred again and to the only new body available, a teddy bear. Without Carrie's knowledge, Jack had her transferred to the bear and gave her to their son Parker on his birthday as a birthday present. Jack told their son that the gift was very important and it was from his mother, but didn't tell him that the bear was his mother, in a sense. As time passed, their son Parker forgot about the toy, leaving her all alone and trapped in an inanimate object as a body. The final display Rollo showed Nish was the consciousness of a convicted killer. Clayton Lee was in prison on death row, convicted of killing a weather forecaster. During Clayton's time in prison, Rollo convinced Clayton to release his consciousness after death in case he doesn't receive the pardon he was seeking, and promised him that his family would be cared for. After telling his wife about his plans, she hates the idea, but he goes through with it after not receiving the pardon. Nish is very concerned about the state of the man and asks Rollo a series of questions, including questions regarding the faulty evidence of the case. Rollo only sees Clayton as a convict and is very dismissive in terms of Nish's questioning. As Rollo continues his story, he explains how he brings Clayton's consciousness back to life, only to take him through continuous torture to make a substantial profit from visitors that came to inflict and watch Clayton's pain. As a result of the continued torture and copies of his consciousness, his data became fragmented or corrupted, and what was left was Clayton's consciousness in a vegetative state. After Rollo finishes his story, Nish has some surprises of her own and has a way of letting Rolo know that she's there to do him in. After giving him a dose of his own medicine, she leaves the museum and makes sure that there won't be any new visitors. As far out as the transfer of consciousness may seem, it's actually a part of a series of projects that were in development long before this episode was even aired. Previous episodes of the show like Crocodile, Be Right Back, USS Callister, and Rachel, Jack, and Ashley 2, for example, also placed a heavy focus on the topic of consciousness. As it is with nearly almost every Black Mirror episode, the series showed us what's in the plans for the future, as do a lot of films in the sci-fi genre.
Computer chips, GPS technology, the internet. All these things grew out of government investments in basic research, and sometimes, in fact, some of the best products and services spin off completely from unintended research that nobody expected to have certain applications. Businesses then use that technology to create countless new jobs. So the founders of Google got their early support from the National Science Foundation. The Apollo project that put a man on the moon also gave us, eventually, cat skins. So Dr. Collins helped lead that genome effort, and that's why we thought it was appropriate to have him here to announce the next great American project, and that's what we're calling the Brain Initiative. So there's this enormous mystery waiting to be unlocked. And the Brain Initiative will change that by giving scientists the tools they need to get a dynamic picture of the brain in action and better understand how we think and how we learn and how we remember. And that knowledge will be transformative. In the budget I will send to Congress next week, I will propose a significant investment by the National Institutes of Health, DARPA, and the National Science Foundation to help get this project off the ground. I'm directing my Bioethics Commission to make sure all of the research is being done in a responsible way, and we're also partnering with the private sector, including leading companies and foundations and research institutions, to tap the nation's brightest minds to help us reach our goal.
Please take a moment to breathe calmly and center yourself. You will soon swap bodies with someone else. Try to synchronize with the movements you see and direct them at the same time. Feel free to explore your new body.
Do we understand empathy as something that relates to our agency over a situation? Does it propel us to action? How can we reorient the use of technology for something more critical, something more human, something more focused on real reality as opposed to virtual? So I'm part of a collective called Be Another Lab. There was a lot of us who came from very different creative backgrounds, looking to share the skill sets that we had and create work. For the collective, the potential wasn't so much, let's say, virtual reality as embodiment research, which is how your mind makes sense of locating yourself in your body and how that can be explored or hacked or displaced through the use of virtual reality. So our interest in virtual reality was particularly how it relates to your sensory perception. So the Machine to Be Another is a collection of technology and protocols for stepping into someone else's shoes. So to achieve that, we use different techniques from cognitive science, virtual reality equipment, different protocols of interaction, as well as narratives. We have two users that sit opposite each other. Their view of each other is occluded. We have them don the virtual reality headsets, which basically displays them some instructions saying just to try to synchronize your movements. And as they match each other's movements, it's very intuitive. They have this sensation of inhabiting the other person's body.
An international team of scientists has succeeded in transmitting the thoughts of an individual into the brain of a second person located thousands of miles away.
Sometimes programming is used to steer the population, sometimes it's a distraction to take our eyes off of the important issues, and sometimes by the time we see it as being set in the future, we're already behind by years. If you like this type of content, please consider subscribing and clicking the like button. If you're interested in any of the topics mentioned in this video, details for links and sources will be in the description box. And on that note, have an awesome day. Peace.